people are pretty people are much more weather savvy, putting it that way. Part of it's because of the internet mostly, and people are just following this. They're fascinated. I think weather. When we go on our tours, people are more and more coming out and saying, "Oh, I always wanted to be a meteorologist," or "I love this." And now they get to see a lot of stuff we see, and Chris passes it along to you and tries to educate you on the way how weather works. It is not one size fit all, that's for sure. And that one model is going to be good, Chris. I think it's going to get the tweaks out. I think
Yeah. I,
as we go forward.
I was going to say I've seen it do very very well with some of these storm systems too. I've noticed that it will. And by the way, what you're seeing in front of you, the National Weather Service is starting to chip away at that severe thunderstorm
Yeah.
warning from southwest to northeast, right, as it pushes off to the east. But I have noticed, Rob, it's not moving very quickly. It seems to be, and this was the one thing too. This is for part of the reason for the elevated flash flood threat, because the storms weren't going to be zipping on by moving at 40, 50 miles per hour like some of these previous severe events. So it's moving slower. We got to watch for training. All right. If training develops and you have these things moving over the same areas over and over and over again, we could have some. It showed the radar looking really interesting over the next couple of hours.
What do you think, Chris? What do you think is the timeline? People coming home from work, obviously, it's a Monday back to work, 295, the Turnpike, up through I-95, through Philly and down into Delaware, obviously the main arteries in the region. What are you seeing as far as, because everybody watching now or tuning in wherever you are, it's 247, and this thing's going to go at least, I think, till 9. That's when the watch runs till. What do you see for rush hour, Chris?
So what it looked like to me was, especially from Philly south, it looked like between maybe 5 and 7 p.m. or 4 and 7. That time slot there was going to be where some of these big storms are going to push through. And of course, like you said, that's rush hour. Everybody's on the roads to begin with, so traffic's normally slower. And what I'm concerned about, like my concern here is going to be, because I've seen this before, if you've already got a lot of traffic and traffic's moving along slowly to begin with, and then all of a sudden you get these huge thunderstorms popping 2 inch an hour rainfall rates, it could really make things an absolute mess on some of these roads. The modeling showed Philadelphia south into Delaware. Delaware was the area that looked like it was going to take it on the chin. Delaware looked like it was going to get hit pretty good, Rob.
Yeah, I saw your circle, which kind of went into Elkton, just over that northeast corner of Maryland into northern Delaware. I was watching some of your stuff this morning. And, the advice is this: if it's this, with this type of storm, and you mentioned the training, which is simply a term for, think of a train and the box cars, and each storm is a box car. So it keeps following each other and it keeps raining more and more. And every storm brings up the levels of the rivers, the ground gets more saturated. Any wind makes it easier for trees to come down, power lines, you know the story. I would personally, if I was watching this line at 249, you're going to go home, say maybe in 2 hours. The roads that normally flood, and I know Delaware's got some spots as well as Jersey and PA and Delaware County too, or Delco. I would look at some spots that normally flood and maybe just go around those just for, safety. It may not happen, but, some of them is nothing more than going around a few blocks around those typical underpasses. Because I think you're right, Chris. I think if these slow down, there's no doubt there's going to be some flash flood warnings once we get closer to rush hour. This one helps us because it doesn't look like there's much behind it, Chris, right now, that maybe
Right.
whatever is falling is going to have enough time to settle in and not overflow anything until the next one. So this one should be far enough away, that little rogue storm, to not really impact the rest of the area right now. You
Right,
know,
right, right, right. The water would, assuming you get any kind of ponding and everything, the water
yeah,
would have a chance to recede, and then the next round comes. So, Rob, it's interesting. The National Weather Service did just come out with a special weather statement here. They're going to keep the warning up until 3 p.m. I guess they're just going to let it expire,
hmm,
because it doesn't even look like it's over Philadelphia County anymore at this point. But it looks like they're just going to let the warning run its course. 10 more minutes left, but honestly, Philadelphia County, you're in the clear now. I wouldn't even worry about this. It is in extreme northwest Burlington County around Florence Township. And it does say that it says around 2:45, it was located over Burlington, or 11 miles southwest of Trenton, moving northeast at 30. So it is picking up some forward speed, which is good. And it
yeah.
looks like there has been some reports of damage to roofs and some siding and trees and power lines down with the system. So, I mean, I guess that's a decent wind gust right there, right? 50, 60 miles per hour.
Oh yeah, that'll do enough to take a couple of trees down. But we got a full leaves now on the trees. Everything's fully rooted, and just a little wind here and there can do it. I know the Weather Service in the past, talking to those guys up in Mount Holly, Chris, they tend to let it expire because it would confuse people if they cancel it. Then people, does that mean I'm canceled in New Jersey, in
Uh,
Philadelphia? So just make it very simple and say, let the box expire. If you see the sky's clear, which you're probably seeing a little bit, it's over. You have enough common
yeah,
sense to say this is over. But when they start chopping, people get confused. So I think they just let the whole thing kind of end.
Rob, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's probably what they're doing here then too. They do stress. All right, this is an interesting. The last couple sentences here, and this is what I'm. This is what I. If you see my Facebook posts and Rob's Facebook posts over the last couple of days, we've been kind of talking about this tornado threat. What they say here is remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms, and if you spot a tornado at once, go into the basement or the center part of your house, some kind of sturdy structure. So they continue to put the word tornado in their verbiage there when they're issuing these warnings. So,
Yeah,
again, it's a low threat, but it's a threat nonetheless.
yeah, and we teach that a lot in schools, and the kids are very good with this. And Chris, you'll be going in the assemblies this fall. That always the first place is a basement because you're away from any windows, and God forbid it's a higher tornado. Mullica Hill a few years back, that was an F
Remember
three,
that one? Wow.
three. That was something else. I mean, that was like out of Wizard of Oz. If you looked at some of the pictures, and then you go to the bathroom because people say, well, why would you go to the bathroom if there was a tornado coming? Because there's extra piping, there's extra insulation, and most bathrooms have no windows or a very little window. They don't have big, giant windows. You want privacy. So that's number two. And then three is an interior room, as we tell kids, which would be a pantry, a closet with no windows, something away from the outside of the house. We're not in Kansas. We don't get this a lot, but Chris, both of us growing up there. I grew up in Delaware and South Jersey in Washington Township, not far from